I want to do maintenance wise is I want to, you'll notice, I don't know if you can see it there, you'll notice the front brake has got a small gap between the pad and the disc on the inside, but it's got no gap on the outside, so it's always braking on the front wheel. So I want to fix that, so I'm going to remove I'm just going to move the screws here in the axle. I'm just going to take the axle out and just tweak it. I also got this, which I'm going to install on the back. So obviously going to be quite a change in what I have at the moment. You can see there a little bit better. It's going to be quite a significant change. So looking forward to putting that in. That's going to be exciting. So yeah, stay tuned. What I've decided to do is I'm going to, I don't know if it's focusing on that. There we go. I've got two pads in there. I'm going to adjust this to push the pad out, and I'm going to adjust this to release the outer pad. As you see, if I do that, it's going to push the pad, but they're not dead center, so it's kind of annoying me, and I want to make it so it's dead center, so it's not always rubbing on this side. So that's what I'm going to try and do and see if that works. And now you can see there is a very small gap between the pad on the right and the left, so I'm a lot happier with that. So if I pull the brake lever, you should see that gap close. If I release it, it then gives me a gap between. So now I should have no resistance, at least not from the brake. So it looks much better than it did before. So yeah, so the project I'm giving myself now is to replace this cassette. I'm going to replace it with a much bigger gear, and so I'm going to remove the screw here, which will allow me to remove the axle. I think there's a spacer in there, and then I've got a sprocket removal tool that I'm going to use to remove this. So with any luck, it's easier to remove than the cassettes that I'm used to, that kind of get tighter and tighter as you pedal. It might just be that anyway, but we'll see. I believe this gear, the biggest one, or the lowest gear, is, I believe it's 26 or 26 teeth. It's a bit dirty, so I can't really see. And I'm going to be replacing that with a 46, so that should be quite a significant change in ratio. And the main reason really for doing that is, even though I've got the motor and it really helps a lot going up hills, it feels a little bit stressed on steeper hills or muddy hills. It feels like it's really working harder than is comfortable for it to work. So I'm going to replace that, and it will actually be closer to a sort of 1-to-1 ratio. So that should just make it a lot easier for it to assist on the hill. And yeah, I mean, the other thing is that it feels a bit jerky. So if you're using the off-road, you're using the throttle, and it feels like it's a bit quick, so, or a little bit too jerky. I'm hoping that kind of like will help smooth that out. I don't know if it will, but I'm hoping it will. So yeah, let's see how I get on. A few minutes later it's out. I managed to use this tool to hold the cassette in place. You'll probably see in the time lapse that I wasn't using it right, but I figured it out. And the removal tool, which goes in here, and it just basically removes that piece, and the cassette just pulls straight out. So this is actually much better than what I remember back in the day. I used to have to screw them on, and then to screw them off you had to like hold the wheel. Yeah, it was a nightmare. So now I'm almost thinking I don't even need to remove some other screw that I've lost. But yeah, I'm thinking that the screw I removed here, I probably didn't need to remove that. But as soon as I find it, I'll put it back on. I'll see if I can still get this tool back on. I think I can without that screw, or with that screw in place, so that I can actually then put the new cassette in. So yeah, let's see how I get on with that. Okay, so this is the new cassette. It's a lot bigger. So I think the previous one went up to 28 teeth, and I've got this one going up to 46, so it should make a difference. And as I'm pleasantly surprised with, this kind of just slid off, so it looks like it's going to be a relatively straightforward replacement. Seems to have a particular fitting, so I'll see how well I can get that to fit. But yeah, so here we go. This bigger one goes on here. That's it. So that's just slid in really neatly. So that's basically now my new gears. It kind of ideally I would like to have, in an ideal world really, because I don't use these small ones so much, and I've only got even smaller and even smaller. I think kind of it feels like I would like to have a spacer at the back that holds it. It did occur to me to put these at the back. I'm not going to do that because that's just terrible. So what I am going to do is I'm just going to follow the convention as it should be. Put these gears in place as they should, and I also noticed that in order for this to grip properly, the smallest gear is the only one that's actually got kind of like teeth that will interlock with a lock nut. So yeah, I don't have that anywhere else. I don't have it on the 17 teeth. I don't have it on the 13. So I'm just going to have to go with what I should be doing really, which is okay. So I'm just going to do that, and yeah. So hopefully I'll just be able to slip that on and put the locking nut in, and then everything should sit quite nicely in place. Just a matter of getting the right one in. There we go. That's it. And I'm putting my locking nut in place. So the other thing I did a little bit earlier in the video is I took this screw out, which I didn't really need to do. So I'm just going to put it back, and hopefully I'll be able to just screw this back on. Not like that. But I'll be able to screw it back on without having to sort of clean it too much. I mean, I kind of given it a little wipe, but I haven't gone too much into cleaning the thread. Probably should, but it seems to fit in there quite nicely. I have to say this is a lot better solution than than what I was used to back in the day, where you had to sort of screw them and unscrew them. But yeah, so I think I've got a torque wrench here. I'm going to set this to 40. I'm going to have to do some sort of form of conversion. Oh no, here we go. Newton meter. There we go. So I'll just have to set this up to 40, and then find the right piece to kind of go over that and go in here, and then I'll get 40 Newton meters so that I get the right torque in place. So you don't want too much, you don't want too little, so it's got to be just right. But yeah, that's that will be the next step. Right, so that's all in now. That's all tight. Got the screw back. Next thing is obviously the wheel will have to go back on. I'll thread this through actually. I think I had it on this side, so I'm just going to thread that and then put it back on. There we go. And then put it back on the axle, tighten that up. But yeah, certainly a lot more straightforward than I thought it'd be. It took me about a week to convert the bike because it was also seized up. It's a very old bicycle. It's about 8 years old now. But yeah, so that's in now. That cassette's in place. So I think the one I'm going to be using mostly is going to be this second gear. Just because that's the displacement is where it feels most comfortable, and then yeah, I mean that will just be for a treat. But this one's going to be the one I'll be using for the most part. So yeah, the next step's just going to be put it back on. Okay, so just a couple of things that I've learnt. It's not as simple as just get a bigger set of gears. A lot of you out there will be really, yeah, you'll think this is obvious. Wasn't to me, but I don't do this often. So of course I'm going to need a longer chain. I'm going to need a different gear shifter. So as you see, it's too short. So it simply isn't gonna reach where it needs to reach. So it's just way too short, and it touches, and yeah, basically it's rubbing against the last gear. I don't know if you can see that there. Probably easier if I just switch, but yeah. So I'm gonna have to get a new one of these, bigger chain. Yeah, and then I'll finish the build. But I'll have to go and buy that online. Hopefully get it delivered this week. And yeah, watch out for the update on when this is finished. So another quick update. So I found this, which I suspect goes between what is currently holding the gear shifter at the back, and I'm then able to pop the gear shifter here at the top. I'm guessing that's what happens, and if I do that, it probably gives me the elevation I need. So I might just be down to getting another chain instead of having to get this whole set up. So let's see. I'm going to try doing that and see how I get on. So to wrap up the video, yes, what I suspected was the right thing to do, which is to put this adapter in, so it allows me to drop this. So as you can see, this is pretty stretched, so I'm going to need a much bigger chain. So I just go, that I will have to buy, it's just the chain, but it does go in, and it goes all the way up to the lowest gear, and yeah, it works well. I wouldn't say it's done much for the jerkiness of it, but it certainly gives it a lot more torque. So yeah, I will put a new chain on that and then do a few videos of rides and see how steep a hills it will get me up.